Amy works with Highland Trust Partners, and she has been a financial planner for the past 30 years. She doesn't look old enough. Her why for her business has been very clear. She grew up in a middle-class family that did not talk about money. Can I get an amen? She didn't learn how to handle money, and she felt stress worrying about her parents financially. Amy works to eliminate that stress and worry for the families that she serves today. She is passionate about helping her clients use what they have to fulfill their visions, dream big, create worry-free, and impactful financial legacies. In her free time, Amy can be found playing duck pin bowling at the Starland Lounge, where she's known as Amy the Kingpin Parrish. I made that up. As part of the Rise, she does play bowling though. As part of the Rise and Shine community, she loves that the women leaders are phenomenal yet down to earth. She loves that we hold each other accountable when needed and always offer support, acceptance, and constructive feedback. Today, Amy's talk is titled, Begin with the End in Mind. She will share the importance of having a plan for your business during the early years and even down the road if you ever plan to sell. Welcome, Amy.
Thank you, Hope. Well, to kind of piggyback on Sarah's great talk, I want you to think about my talk as not just succession planning for yourself, but how you can be a blessing to others through your business. How many of you think would be really cool to create a business that you could eventually sell or pass on to someone else? I think that would be amazing to think that I'd created something that lived on beyond my involvement in it. Well, a recent study said that 70% of business owners plan to sell their business or pass it on to somebody else. Only 15% actually did. That's so depressing to me because it represents so much lost opportunity and legacies that just evaporated into the air, that just died when they didn't have to. Planning can eliminate that. Now, I know not everybody in here is currently a business owner, but maybe this conference will inspire you on that route. But even if you're just working in a business, I think it's important for you to know about succession planning. You need to know what's going on in your work environment and who one day may be in charge. So I'm going to share with you 2 succession strategies that everybody should have in place. The first one is for the short term, to cover emergencies and crisis. The second is a longer term plan for when you no longer want to work in the business. It's your exit strategy. They both have similar components. The first is going to be, to have a successor in place. And you may ask, when should you start succession planning? We tell our business clients that the day you start your business is the day you should plan to leave the business. Because something's going to happen. Something may happen that may force you to retire or resign from your business early. There's a chance that illness or death could cause that to happen. But then on a more fun note, what if you just want to step away? What if you want to take a sabbatical? Or what if you want to spend extended time with family? Wouldn't it be great to have a plan in place to allow you to do that? Having a succession plan means that your business continues to be successful even when you're not in it. That can happen. That is a possibility. I want to tell you about an example of a successful succession strategy. So I had a client who had a business. She started out as a music teacher. She taught students piano lessons, and she grew her business. She brought in other music teachers that taught different instruments. She had a location where they could be, and they gave their lessons together. She was very well connected in the community. She had a great network of students, a thriving business, and then she got married. And her husband had 2 children from a previous marriage. And it became apparent over time these kids lived in a different state. And they decided as a family that they were going to need to move to be closer to these kids and really support them and be involved in their lives. So you can understand with her business model, she couldn't just pick it up and move it easily to a new location and have it continue in its current state. So fortunately though, she had some time. She didn't need to make an immediate move. So she started her planning process. She was able to identify one of her teachers, music teachers, who had great managerial skills and who wanted to do more in the business. So she started mentoring her, showing her what she did on a day-to-day basis, and started turning over some of those tasks to her. So eventually, when she was ready to move, she turned over all the operations to this person. She moved out of state. The business continued to excel. The owner then got a job in her new town, just a fun job that she loved, that she thought she would never have the ability to do. So then she had income from that. She still had income from her business out of town, and she started thinking about maybe she could open multiple locations because now she had the structure in place and she knew that she didn't need to be there 24/7 doing all of the work. So as I said before, both succession plans, the short term and the long term, have similar components. That first part is finding your successor. In the short term, you're going to want to identify somebody that can take over for you in an emergency. Now, if you're a small business or you're the only one, that may be your spouse or that may be another family member. If you're in a larger organization, it's probably a key employee, someone in management, someone you already rely heavily on. So identify that person and then get a durable power of attorney in place. That gives them the legal ability to act on your behalf. So we know that's important in our personal lives, but do we always do that in our business? Once you've identified them, have the legal document in place so they can act, make sure you equip them to do that job. Do they have all the tools and the information that they need? Do they know how you run your business? Do they know where your accounts are, what your systems are? Do they have access to those information that they are going to need to rely on? Do they know your trusted advisors, and do your trusted advisors know who they are? And it may also be important if you have employees to make sure that they understand this is the plan that's in place. After you do that, have identified a successor. Well, let me go back. So for the longer term plan, identifying a CEO successor is identifying somebody that will eventually take over for you when you are no longer in the business. So that's a much longer term process, but it can start soon. It can start at the beginning with you identifying a person, or more likely a job description of somebody that you would like to see grow into that role that you could eventually turn responsibility over to. So you want to start with the end in mind, build it to sell, and start creating those job descriptions that will get you there. After you've done that, then the second part of succession planning would be to, again, start with the end in mind and create an action plan. Create a specific retirement date. If you don't create a specific date, you are likely to work in the business forever. Can you see that happening? Never having an end time in mind. Then you want to brainstorm reasons that might cause you to retire early. You know, maybe the business grows faster than you ever dreamed and you can walk away earlier, or something happens in your family life that causes you to want to make a change. Go ahead and brainstorm those reasons so that you can work in contingencies to your plan, so that if it comes a reason why you need to retire early, you've already thought that through. And then you're going to need to decide, what are your financial needs from the business after retirement? And that's where personal financial planning comes to help. So personal financial planning looks at the resources that you have, the financial goals that you have, and then determines how successful you're going to be at meeting those goals. So you may go through that process and determine, we're great. My family, we have everything covered. We don't really need any money from my business to be successful in retirement. Good, that's phenomenal. But what else can you do? Dream bigger. Think of some other goals. Think of all the other legacies that you could create with your business. Or you might go through that process and realize, oh, well, there are some gaps in our situation. We're not completely meeting the goals that we would like to accomplish. So then you can work with your advisors to determine how your business can help you fill those gaps and make you successful in retirement. So I gave you a success story about planning. Let me tell you what I recommend not to do. This is a client that I've started working with maybe about a year ago. He's 71. He has a successful business. Clearly, he didn't buy into the start with the end in mind, build it to sell. He has a great business though, great employees. He has family working in the business, but he had no plan for ever leaving. He's 71 and he decided, now's the time. I really want to retire. Because he hasn't done any of that planning, we just had to start with a personal financial plan. And we determined with the current resources he has, he is going to need money from his business to be successful in retirement, to have the life that he and his wife want to have. So now we have a dollar figure that he needs to get out of his business. That's the target we're shooting for. Had we started this earlier, he would have had so many other options, so many other opportunities. We could have really worked with him to, guide those employees, guide family members, and make life better for everybody and make sure the business would continue to thrive. And he truly cares about his employees, but now he's really under the gun, and he's got to look out for himself first and foremost. So like I tell my 17-year-old son, if you fail to prepare and plan and do the work, your options are limited. I don't think he's gotten that message yet. There's still hope. He's 17. The third step in succession planning is to think about your trusted advisors. Everybody has them. You can't do this alone. You should not do this alone. So the ones you probably think of first and foremost that most of us have are an accountant or a CPA and an attorney. But there could be a ton of other trusted advisors in our lives. You might have a banker that you work with that's incredibly important to you, a commercial realtor, an insurance specialist. There's a ton of different ones. And a comprehensive financial planner works with all of those areas and wants to work with your trusted advisors to be successful, but could also help you plug in gaps as needed. So in your workbook, there's some exercises to do, and one is to rate your advisors. So on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the worst, 5 being the top, how are they working for you, and are they able to meet you where you want to go? So maybe you started out when you opened your business and you were just referred to somebody that was a friend or family member and they're great, but maybe now your business is a little bit more specific and you need somebody that really works within that industry and targets that kind of market. So I've also put some action steps in there for you. So number 1, create that durable power of attorney. Make sure you're covered in emergencies. That's going to help you out tomorrow if anything were to happen unexpected. Create a transition plan and the timeline and be specific with your dates and what you want to accomplish. And number 3, I'm a loud talker, evaluate your trusted advisors and see if you need to make any adjustments in those areas. Don't sell your business short. Start with an end in mind, build it to sell. It will be a blessing to you, and just think of the legacy you will create that can bless others.